The village lay close onto the westwood, the forest gradually thinning until the last few trees stood actually among the stout frame houses. The land sloped gently down to the east, though not without patches of woods. Farms and hedge-bordered fields and pastures quilted the land beyond the village all the way to the waterwood and its tangle of streams and ponds. The land to the left was just as fertile, and the pastures were lush in most years, but only a handful of farms could be found in the westwood. Even those few dwindled to none miles short of the sandhills, not to mention to the mountains of mist, which rose above the westwood treetops, distant, but in plain sight from Edmond's fields. Some said the land was too rocky, as if there were not rocks everywhere in the two rivers. Others said it was hard luck land. A few muttered that there was no point getting any closer to the mountains than needs be. Whatever the reasons, only the hardiest men farmed in the westwood. Small children and dogs dodged around the cart in whooping swarms once it passed the first row of houses. Bella plodded on patiently, ignoring the yelling youngsters who tumbled under her nose, playing tag and rolling hoops. In the last months, there had been little of play or laughter from the children. Even when the weather had slackened enough to let the children out, fear of wolves kept them in. It seemed the approach of bell time had taught them how to play again. Festival had affected the adults as well. Broad shutters were thrown back, and in almost every house the goodwife stood in a window, apron tied around her and long braided hair done up in a kerchief, shaking sheets or hanging mattresses over the windowsills. Whether or not leaves had approached on the trees, no woman would let bell time come before her spring cleaning was done. In every yard, rugs hung from stretched lines, and children who had not been quick enough to run free in the streets instead vented their frustrations on the carpets with wicker beaters. On roof after roof, the good man of the house clambered about, checking the thatch to see if the winter's damage meant calling on old Sen Bowie, the thatcher. Several times Tam paused to engage one man or another in brief conversation. Since he and Rand had not been off the farm for weeks, everyone wanted to catch up on how things were out that way. Few Westwood men had been in. Tam spoke of damage from winter storms, each one worse than the one before, and stillborn lambs, of brown fields where crops should be sprouting and pastures greening, of ravens flocking in where songbirds had come in years before. Grim talk, with preparations for bell time going on all around them, and much shaking of heads. It was the same on all sides. Most of the men rolled their shoulders and said, well, will survive, the light willing. Some grinned and added, and if the light doesn't will, we'll still survive. That was the way of most Two Rivers people. People had to watch the hail beat their crops, or the wolves take their lambs, and start over. No matter how many years it happened, did not give up easily. Most of those who did were long since gone.